have about a 10-minute presentation here from our friends over at Dish Media. Dish has sponsored and been part of our events over the last few years, and we're thrilled to have their continued support and faith and participation in what we, not just this event, but other events as well. And today we have Dan Kelly, General Manager of Sales at Dish Media, here to speak to us about driving results with data-enhanced solutions. And Dish is doing a lot on the auto front. And Dan, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Hey,
thanks,
how are
Jonathan.
you?
Great. I appreciate it. Let me go ahead and share my screen. See if I can do this properly.
Yep. We see it.
All right.
And where are you calling
Still
in
all
from?
good?
Dan? Yeah, where are you calling
Excellent.
in?
I'm calling in from Los Angeles. So
All right.
good afternoon to all of those on the East Coast, and good morning to those of us here on the West Coast.
Yeah, very much so. Well, hey, it's your time. Take it away, and thanks for being with us today. Really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, Jonathan, and thanks to everyone on the Media Post team. And thank you to everyone for sitting through my brief and quick elevator pitch for Dish Media and how it is that we're driving results for your media campaigns by using data. And I do promise to be brief and wrap up before you get through too many emails, or hopefully avoid the virtual hook for those of us that were on the call yesterday. So as Angela just, perfectly laid out for me, data is, incredibly important to the auto industry. And data goes into everything from creating or changing each and every one of your model lines. A ton of data goes into identifying the target market for each of those models. And then that data can be seen in the story that creative directors showcase in your beautiful TV spots. But with all of that, when it comes to the media campaigns, billions of dollars are spent and measured each year against large demo sets like adults 18 to 49. Now, let's face it. On one end of that spectrum is someone that's going to college, and at the other end of the spectrum is someone that is paying for it. So how can we speak to that, the group in the same manner? So that's exactly why Dish Media believes that data should be at the core of your media schedules. And then after you have secured your target consumer and secured ways to speak specifically to them, if and when the budget allows, you then add on some of the large, big ticket items like Super Bowl spots or different things to make your campaigns flashy. It's kind of like buying a car. You start at your base and then you add on based upon, what you can afford. So the three core data opportunities that I will briefly describe in less than about the 8 minutes I have left is our use of technology and data for addressable TV, which spans across both our linear televisions and our OTT and our Sling TV product. Our newest incarnation of Reach Booster, which is just a smarter way of utilizing your current campaigns, and then our data-driven linear approach to enhance and try to find folks in different ways. So to start off with the household addressable and what that is, household addressable simply allows you to speak with specific households when they're engaged with content. And you get to be as specific as you want to target. Do you want to go after households that own pickups? Do you want to go after households that already own one of your models, but based on the vast data that you have, that it's getting older and it's time for an upgrade? Yesterday we had heard a great deal about loyalty and how in some ways that is declining when it comes to purchase decisions. Well, perhaps people just need to be spoken to more often and reminded about what it was that made them choose your brand for their, for the car that they currently own, in order to get them ready to go back and buy again. Or, again, based on the the loyalty conversation of yesterday, perhaps now more than ever, conquesting is the way to go with your media campaign. So Addressable gives you the ability to target in a lot of different ways, not only by the person, but by the region. And targeting by regions helps to engage your tier 2 partners while tailoring the messages specific to those regions. And this has been helpful lately as, some regions, perhaps less affected by COVID-19 didn't really want to see, the use of PPE and masks and stuff in the creative. However, the areas that were more, hit more seriously, they really wanted to be reassured that going to the dealership was safe. And if not going to the dealership, that they can go online and have that same shopping experience and can be just as effective as walking onto the lot. So depending upon the goal of the campaign, we work together to identify the best target and how we will evaluate that campaign at the end. But the true benefit to addressable television comes from the back-end measurement. As we close the loop and help prove out the return on investment of your campaign. Is that sales lift? Is that foot traffic? Is that web traffic? Those are just some of the different ways that we can utilize data to prove out your campaigns. And with different resources, we can say whether or not that household that we know saw your spot, did the cell phone that's registered to that same address make its way to one of your lots? Did that household via pixeling that we know was exposed to your creative, did they go online? Did they begin to shop for one of your vehicles on your website? So how we prove out that return on investment is by working with several great data partners, one of which we heard from yesterday in Experian. Now, we are definitely data agnostic, but based on your KPIs, we can definitely suggest vendors based on our vast experience in the addressable marketplace, but ultimately that's up to you. Are you already working with one of these folks in the data world? Are you looking to work with them based upon the campaign's objectives? Again, we'll follow your lead, but we will definitely come to the table with plenty of suggestions on ways to utilize these great data vendors. And how does it all work? It's very simple, and there is definitely some confusion out there in the marketplace and how long it takes or how in-depth it is. But it is a pretty simple process for addressable television, where, again, we get to work with you to identify what is the goal of the campaign. Not just, selling more cars, right? Is it acquisition? Is it retention? Is it loyalty? Is it driving people to your service centers? There's different, goals of each campaign. So from there, how specific of a target do you want to get? How granular you do want to get will definitely help determine which of those vendors you use. It will also have an impact in regards to your campaign, how long we would suggest, as well as, what the frequency we would suggest on that. And then we would establish what the measurement will be. Again, to my earlier point, will we evaluate the campaign based on just straight up sales lift, or is it going to be on web traffic increase, dealership traffic increase, or a brand lift analysis to give you an idea of what folks are feeling about your brand, or perhaps even different copy and testing out different creative, which do they prefer? We set the flight, and our suggestion on that, for a minimum, we would say 3 to 4 weeks, with ideally somewhere between a 4 to 6 frequency per household per week. And then after your campaign is done, we then allow for the attribution time period. So that could be anywhere from, a 30-day, 60-day, or 90-day sales match back, or it could just be, based upon 1 week out, in regards to what kind of website traffic did we see increase over the course of the campaign. Then we analyze those results. Now, I'm not going to get into these 4 different case studies and bore you with details. This is simply just a way to showcase some of the things that we can do. Again, by working with our data and knowing the fact of which of our households did or did not see your creative, we can then showcase the results, whether that's increase in buy rate, web traffic, foot traffic, and so forth. Our data allows us to get in depth with that data, and as Angela pointed out, the automotive marketplace is definitely rich with data. So from addressable, our newest product in the addressable world is that of our Reach Booster opportunities. And Reach Booster is a tool that helps us to identify households within your specific target that have not been reached or perhaps not been reached enough by your national linear schedules. We do this by using your creative IDs, and we overlay that with our viewership data. And then we get to determine that the exposure level that was either missed out or just not hit enough. And then we get to retarget specifically those households in your demo that were not reached. And why do we do this? Well, because we're finding that with national TV schedules, there becomes a point where your linear campaigns are failing to reach new customers. The curve of reach is flattening somewhere in the 40 to 60% area, depending upon the campaign. And unlike the last 6 months of our bizarro world, we know that flattening this curve is not ideal. We definitely want to help this spike, and we want to make sure that we can reach each and every one of the folks within your target. So that is where our Reach Booster tool comes into play and helps enhance what you're already doing on the linear situation. Lastly, from our data-driven tools is that of our data-driven linear opportunity, which allows you to apply some more specific layers of data to create models that we can then score against all of our subscribers. So whether that's sports fans that unfortunately, based on yesterday's news for college football, we know the folks that watched in 2019. We can actually then identify and see what else they're watching. And we can index that across networks, days, and day parts across the entire cable landscape. So we've been enjoying some increased partnerships with many of you on this call. So I do thank you for that. And with that in mind, we've actually created a client vertical specifically for automotive in order to kind of make sure that we bring each other, to higher levels in the time to come. Because ultimately, we want to work together with you to make advertising smarter. We want to take and make sure that data is the core of your media campaigns in order to help you achieve each of the different KPIs associated with them. So with that, I do believe I'm just about at my time limit, perhaps a little bit over, but I do thank everybody for their time. And again, thanks to the Media Post team for a great couple of days.
All right, Dan, great. Thanks so much. That was succinct and informative. We appreciate that. And in fact,